Good morning. This message is for Jeff Dimmick and Chuck Box and members of the Witham family and members of the bonillAs family. And I have strategically sent this to these four entities because if I sent this just to my parents on its own, they would dismiss it and say that they just had a crazy son because they have no vision and they have no idea of what remains outside of themselves. That's not a dig, that's just an assessment of where they're at. The bonillAs family would think that I was crazy about Natalie or obsessed about Natalie, which I'm not. But I am very motivated towards brokenArgyle, and in the beginning, she was a very big part of that idea and plan. Jeff, I've sent this to you because you're the only person that I think that spiritually will understand what I'm trying to do as well. And Chuck, you are the other side of that dicot of understanding business and understanding. You're an empath. You understand people. You're like me. So in the beginning of all this, I was looked at as a monster. I was looked at as somebody who was on drugs and miscommunicated that I was trying to hurt Natalie or anything like that. That was never the case, ever. I was just trying to, one, get her attention and try to be consoled because of my uncle's passing, and two, talk to her about the business that I wanted to start with her and her family and my family. And so here's the idea, guys. If we can come together, right? And I know the big thing is, oh, Ryan's on drugs, Ryan is only smoking the leaves of marijuana. And that's something that my family is going to have to understand, because I know that the bonillAs family, they have all smoked pot and whatnot, so it's not a big deal. And Chuck, maybe you have. Jeff, I know that we've talked about it and you haven't, but we can talk about it and I can help you understand that, because I smoked the leaves of the marijuana instead of having to take the amphetamines, Vyvanse, which were my gateway drugs to the mollies that Natalie will say that I did, when I did, and to the ecstasy that I got hooked on. They are the gateway drugs to the methamphetamines. Amphetamines are the gateway drugs to the methamphetamines. This message is also for Devin and Monica. And so what I've done at Larwin is I have been painting it with engineering principles, because I wanted to use my grandmother as a use case, but that didn't happen because of the monster that everybody kind of painted me as. So I've been using Ruth, my neighbor, to go over concepts and ideas, and I've been painting pictures on the walls to make it so that it's kind of like boisterous, and we learn when we see something, and then we can associate that fundamental principle with something else. And so up on all of my walls here are engineering ideas that are saturated within the art that I've created. Because yeah, I guess I'm an artist, but you have to be an artist, and you have to be a systems engineer, is a storyteller, because a systems engineer can take all these little objects and put them all together and arrange them in a way that makes a bigger difference than them by themselves. And that's what I've been able to do. I haven't been telling a story. I haven't been lying. I've been maybe using my words in a very flowery way, but that's to get my point across. And my point has been that my parents and the bonillAs family have tremendous egos that needed to be broken. And the only way to do that was for me to put it out into the open so that they would feel the shame that they have been using for years against us. Not purposely, but because they thought that that's the way that it had to be. I know, but that Bob thought that he had to cover up what happened to Natalie in the past because of his area code and kind of like what he was as a status within the Huntington Beach community. And Natalie needed to be helped with that stuff, because she's kind of like a statue now. She won't talk about her feelings, and she has maybe moved on with somebody else, and that this is still going to apply, because I think that the bonillAs family, along with the Witham family, if they join their resources together, and with the help of Jeff and Chuck steering us, and with the genesis of brokenArgyle, I think that we can make a huge difference in the world. I know this is not what the four entities or Devin and Monica signed up for. I understand that. But I didn't sign up for this either. Because all I did within the past 2 years is I stuck up for myself and my fellow teammates at AT&T. over a director that eventually got fired because he was an asshole. And he was the one that got me fired. I didn't do anything wrong at AT&T. I brought them brokenArgyle. And then I've evolved brokenArgyle into what it is now, which is going to be, I'm going to take the local high school and college kids, and everyone can help in this, and we can all make the world a better place. And we're going to make them a team of technical ambassadors, and we're going to go help the older generations and the adults come up to speed with technology. And we're going to look at their service bills like I did with my family, like Natalie does with her family. And we're going to help them understand the services that they need and try to save them the money that we're going to charge as a service. It's going to be great. It's not a business model. It's not a business plan. It's a way of life that we're going to help to bring together. And the first step is for Natalie to forgive me. And I'm not doing this, orchestrating all this thing just so that I can look like the good guy, because I'm not. But if Natalie forgives me, she brings all of our friends together. She brings everybody together. Even if she's with somebody else, I will totally respect that. But we can start something, because then Devin would be here, and then Monica, and everybody can understand what they've done in this. I've given the last 2 years of my life fighting for this, and for the last year I've had to kind of pretend like I was the monster, and sort of like I said, well, since I'm gonna have to be the monster, I might as well like get things off of my chest, because if I'm gonna start a company that's going to be nestled in transparency, because that's one of the other things. Every dollar that goes into brokenArgyle is going to be shown to the public. And the stories that when we go into Ruth's house and we kind of like pimp it out sort of with technology, because we're not going to get paid off of selling things, because we're never going to sell anything. We're just going to be telling people, hey, we could do this to your house. And then we go and we get them the things, we do that. And then we just have a service fee, a small service fee. And then we get, one team in Cyprus doing this, and we get a couple teams in Cyprus using Larwin as like hey, you want to come see what that technology looks like in a home? Yeah, come check it out. And then they come through Larwin. I know it's a concept, it's a conceptual business plan, but it's gonna be amazing, because then we do this in Cyprus, and then we do this in an adjacent city, and then like we get like the whole county of Orange County, and then we have this network of technical ambassadors. Jeff Dimmick always taught me the best lesson about corporations and systems. When you lead at the lowest level, you are the strongest possible. Now, what better idea than to take our youth and to have them become our leaders? To become solving the problems that adults maybe sometimes get cathartled in, like conditions, and like how things are supposed to be. I know my parents are how things are supposed to be, how they're supposed to look. That's why I had to break their balls this past year and a half. This past year, I had to come out and give them the truth, give them my truth, and they had to be able to handle it, because those were all my feelings. This entire thing has been my feelings. And I haven't drinking in a year and a half, guys. I used to be a raging alcoholic. You guys all know that. I don't crave it anymore. And the pot hasn't made me turn crazy, or the shrooms, which I dosed myself with over a 3-week period with psilocybin. And we need to look into this, because this is true. I've researched this. We can all come together and make something so amazing. I know that you didn't sign up for this. I know that it's going to take a lot for my family to understand, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't, because I've taken the time to understand them. Same thing with the bonillAs. I was never a threat. Yolanda and everybody likes me. I'm not the asshole. I didn't. You guys made me the monster that you wanted me to be, so that your stories would fit, and I'm not the monster. I've cared about your daughter enough to be able to bring this to you, and to be able to diagnose her from afar exactly what I couldn't diagnose when I was in my own ego of alcoholism when we were together. I love your daughter, but I can also let her go, and we can do this as friends. Guys, this is an amazing opportunity for us. This is not about me. This is not about a last-ditch effort. I didn't plan this from the very, very beginning, but it just came to be. This is our shot, because Stephanie would be awesome at this, like wrangling like kids, and then we're gonna get artisans, people who are like really good at what they do, to kind of come in and help us, and then we're gonna be the best service company in the world, and we're gonna make millions of dollars. And this is all going to be governed, because my wage on this is always going to be constant and shown to the public, so people are going to be wanting to give more money to it. And then we're going to save an old person's life, and then they're going to be like, hey, we're going to give you some of your inheritance. Linda and Steve, you guys absolutely should use Greg's estate to start Broken Argyle. I know that you're scared about it, and I will help you understand. So will Lacey, because she smokes pot too. We all smoke pot. Everybody smokes pot except the withAms. Like, we all pretend like we don't, so that the withAms are going to be okay, but they need to be okay with it. Steve, you need to understand that you need to start taking decisions for yourself. I'm not calling you out, but you need to absolutely tell Linda no. Talk to Lacey about it. Lacey will tell you that you need to tell her no at some time. Okay? Bob, I don't have anything against you, but you should have taken care and helped Natalie with what happened to her. I don't have any ill will against everybody, but I need for us to come together, and I don't think that the withAms would have been able to do it on their own. And I don't think that the bonillAs would have been able to do it on their own. So that's why I need Chuck and Jeff. That's why in the beginning of all of this, I wrote you guys a million times telling you, hey, this is something big. I needed you guys to come down here. I need you guys to come down here and understand. Devin or Monica, maybe you guys can, two of you can come here so that Natalie doesn't feel scared, because there's nothing scary about me. I'm not on any crazy drugs. I haven't done any drugs other than pot in like forever, as long as I can remember. I'm not Brad. I'm not dying via drugs. I've been doing essentially kind of what monks do by going off in isolation and understanding what's happening with the world, and then they came back and I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do. It's very simple. I'm not making any of this up. I'm very intelligent because I was able to take out my conditioning. That doesn't mean my parents did a bad job. That just means I'm taking out my conditioning. So then once we get these teams of kids like solving adult problems and keeping people technologically safe, we're going to start communicating them across the world. And then once we have this network of kids across the world, that's how we bring about world peace. I know that sounds so crazy because we don't even think about that, guys, but this is how we do it. We lead at the lowest level. We get them to communicate at the lowest level. And then we send that up to the adults, and then the adults start communicating. Because the adults don't talk, you guys don't talk. None of us talk. We hide everything. We don't need to do that. This is the best idea in the world. And it gets even better because there's so many more aspects of this, which is why I put the humanitarian efforts out there for everyone to see, so that people know that when they donate to Broken Argyle, hey, you guys are going to go try to stop homelessness? That's fucking awesome. Please. I know, Katie, it's a good idea. Boogie even just said so. I love all of you guys. I wouldn't have been trying to do this if I didn't. But I also love the world, and I know what we can do for the world. We can inspire the world. Natalie and I can inspire forgiveness. We can do this. We can do this. We just have to believe. We just have to believe. Please believe. I love you guys.